and gentlemen, the world is really experiencing a rapid kind of evolution. In 1972, Eric Hoffer reflected on human conditioning that in times of rapid change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped dealing with the world that no longer exists. So the mindset and paradigm shift is truly the key catalyst in transforming any workplace culture. This shift is truly necessary because every workplace tells a silent story, not written in procedures or policies or systems, but deep in the minds, in the hearts, and in the attitudes of its people. So it is very important truly to look at this mindset as well as how human thinking shapes the workplace as well as shaping the futures for the generations to come. I am Nokulunga Mzekandaba. More than a decade, I faced serious mental health and depression while I continued wearing a mask as a corporate employee. As I'm standing here, I had to give up my BSc Computer Science. You know, you go to vets and study and top up, but it couldn't work for me. Why am I saying this? As much as education is the key, but someone else has to do something else. Just like someone who invented a car, just like who Henry Ford. So we have been made to believe that all of us, we had to go through university while we lose ourselves. Yet education is key. Yes, yet education is sacred. So today I invite you to come with me. Let's explore the deeper layers where real transformation occurs, yet ignored. The beliefs we hold, the assumptions we bring, and how we view ourselves and others in the world that we live in. We can then shift mindsets and embrace new paradigms while we ignite a cultural renewal of the mind that fosters trust. It fosters trust, purpose, innovation, as well as genuine connections. So, in 1956, L. Nightingale released a spoken word record, which is in plain sight today. I would love to read it. It says, know what will happen to 100 individuals who study at the age of 25 and who believe they will be successful. By the age of 65, only 5 out of 100 will make the grade. Why do so many fail? What happened in the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What became of their dreams, their hopes, their plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these people intended to do and what they actually accomplished? That is the strangest secret. A research was conducted by Dr. Albert Schweitzer. He even came to Africa. And then when he went back, they asked the doctor, what is it that is wrong with men? He said, men simply do not think. So it is this thinking that we owe ourselves and the future of generations to come, because we need to start thinking. Albert Schweitzer says this is not me, probably you can actually start doing a deep introspection. I had to do the deep introspection because I could not even comprehend. I was told that go and study this, you're going to be someone. Go and study, climb the corporate ladder, and I found myself hitting rock bottom. Self-esteem went down, and I was busy trying to climb the corporate ladder, and it was not working. I faced serious mental health to the point where I nearly died. Psychologists couldn't help me. I had to find myself exactly, why am I on this planet Earth? So there is a knowing and doing gap. We were raised, oh, by the way, those are the topics that we are going to cover. It's all about human potential. We were raised and taught to learn powerful information for many years. And as we progressed, we get recognized as individuals for how much we could remember. And we get awarded a degree or degrees. Some of us even went further and acquired this powerful and good information from prestigious universities. Very beautiful indeed. But we have never been taught about ourselves. We go and study anything and master everything, but there has never been an opportunity for us to learn who we are. So these days, truly the world with all the AI that is there is not very interested in what we know. Instead, how much we can do. That is where now the focus is. We are being recognized for doing things, for thinking and doing things practically. So, this is all about the mind, the body, and the soul. Oneness with. Oneness with. So when I had to go and find myself, I met someone who asked me about the color of my skin. And I was like, color of my skin? This is racism. It's a South African thinking that. And then I was wearing a black jacket and a white top. He said to me, okay, what is the color of your skin? I'm like, oh, I'm black, because that's what I was told. And he says, what about me? I said, you are white. I said, yeah, that is the confusion that you are looking for. That is why. And I realized there and then that that is the cause of my mental health, because I believe in things that are not true. So the challenge was, you need to go, out of all what you have been taught, even the degree that you have, you need to go and get to know yourself better. We have never been given an opportunity to go and learn ourselves better. So, do you know that large corporations in South Africa spend over 700 billion rand a year training people to know more? That's what training is, isn't it? That's what training is. And that means we train them to know more. Not about themselves. That's what we were told. That's what we went through. This is part of our conditioning. The strangest and the saddest thing is that we gather all this information, beautiful as it is, and we end up becoming the mobile encyclopedia of knowledge. But we don't do that which we know how to do. Why is that? So, when I was actually looking at what is happening with me, going around looking for myself, and then this person taught me about me. And then he said, you know what? The challenge is that we are dealing with the mind. Dr. Tenenfleet in 1934 came up with this prop. He said we had a challenge because as we are treating people, we are treating the physical aspect of who the person is. We do not treat the mind. The thing is, until that person understands who they are by understanding the mind, then the solution is going to come up. So when I tapped into this, he said, look, we need to understand what the mind is. The mind is in each and every cell of our being, but it is the unseen part of who we are. Now, how do I get to understand that? It's because it is an unseen part. What does it do? The mind is the movement that is happening inside the body, and it expresses the results on the outside. So each and every one of us was born with a gift. So this gift is inside me, meaning I am the body that through which the mind should work. So that is what we call consciousness. So we are created to think in pictures. Meaning when you come on this earth, you already have a gift, a picture that you can relate to. Therefore, this picture is only known to you. What does that mean? It means my calling, my presence here has got something special, which is why some of us are actually doing these projections and all the good things, obviously. But others, why others are not tapping in those specialities of who they are, is because of what we're told, the beliefs that we live in, the assumptions that we bring, the attitudes that we look at ourselves and continue living life as if it's normal. So, Dr. Tenenfleet said, no, I'm going to draw the mind, because we need to associate ourselves with a picture. Think of it, where your car is parked right now. How do you go to your home? Where do your children go to school? The difference between the lemon and, you know, immediately a picture comes in like that, isn't it? But when it comes to the mind, nothing comes in. So now, it is in each and every cell of our being, the mind. It works in such a way that it expresses the result on the outside. Look at that pregnant woman. According to the law, in 9 months she's going to be delivering the baby. right? You go to the bathroom because you respond to the sensation that you don't need to know what is happening in your body. If we go to nature, there is a fruit tree in your backyard. That fruit tree, according to the time that it is meant to yield the fruit, it works through that. Everything happens according to the law. That is why we're talking about consciousness, because everything that is happening in that fruit tree and anything else is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. It's evenly spread out, meaning there is oneness with this great power. You can call it anything, universal intelligence. Someone can call it God. But now, in order for me to produce the results, I have to be aligned to be one with, so that I get guidance. So some people, they do tap into this great power. Some people, they don't. So as I was saying, there is a knowing and doing them. We do things that we do not know why we are doing them, but we do them anyway. So we have got this secret genius in us, which is the gift. It doesn't have a color. It doesn't have anything. It is the power that is within. Now, the thought is the highest function in a human being. A dog can come in there, it won't know that it is inside. Therefore, it means we have got all the power to do great things. James Allen says, as the man thinketh, mind is the master power that molds and makes. Man is mind, meaning we are God's highest form of creation. And every time we have got the option to think right or think wrong, and the results will be showing on the outside. That is why today we find ourselves having so many highly qualified graduates, and they don't have jobs. The time has lapsed for the jobs. It's about now to go within and get that which you are, and understand how you are meant to serve others. Because the world today, it doesn't care about what we know. We have to bring things practically and then serve others. We are all called for that. So the thought, when it gets into the conscious mind, you give it a meaning. That is when you co-create alignment, because it's a thought. There is a power that goes in us and through us. The subconscious mind is the processor. So the person who taught me this, you know what? Because I never went to school, my mentor taught me about two things. Psychiatrists and psychologists, they can say, look, this is what the mind is, and. Those people, they speak their language there to understand. But for someone like me and you who has never been exposed into those parts, then you need to understand the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, which the body works and it expresses the results on the outside. But now, when you have been told to only become a fruit tree because someone else is that fruit tree, what kind of a fruit you are? The five senses that we are bearing, they collect all the information from the outside, inside, and yet the recipe is inside the subconscious mind. Now, I want us to look deeper into this, because the mind is the most powerful power in the whole of creation. Dr. Ryan of Duke University said that. So we have gifts as human beings called for greater purpose. We have the gift. In some of us, this gift is dormant. In some of us, this gift is working because other people, they are co-creating in alignment with the source. So that is the intellectual part of who we are, which is resident in the conscious mind. Now look at the thinking mind, which is also in the conscious mind. The educated mind, meaning anything that you are doing today, you were taught. To tie your shoes, to go to the bathroom, you were potty trained, but today you do those things without any conscious thought. There is a book mind. The book mind is when we depend only on logic. And yet, there is more into us. 98% of who we are is the subconscious mind, which is the spiritual part of who we are. Then, the free will. Some are using the free will to do great things. The law of life speaks about positive and negative. There are many laws. But then now, you can choose. No, I can't do it. You can go for it and take the challenge. It's a choice. So the 2 to 4% that will benefit is where we are lying on. Here. Then this emotional mind, which is the infinite intelligence, which is who you are at 98%, meaning you are a spirit being in human experience and you have to be one with in order to be guided and come up with these good ideas. What does that mean? It means the subconscious mind says yes, even if you are joking, it doesn't have jokes. It must accept what you are telling it. It does not ask questions. It does not differentiate between what is real or imagined. So, when you are being taught to look at that picture and become that fruit tree, and yet you are bearing the seed of a different fruit tree, it becomes a confusion in some of us. Education will always be sacred. But if it's not talking to the alignment of who you are, then you end up getting depression, mental health, because there is no alignment. So 98% of who we are energy being in human experience or spirit being in human experience. That is why now. Albert Einstein says, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. We live in a quiet voice which we normally ignore. And says the rational mind, which is the book mind. 5%, yes, we need to study, 5% is what we are focusing on almost everything. We live in the 95%. So, he says, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. That is why today AI is taking over. Now we can start thinking, I'm glad because this is a higher education service provider, that the lecturers and the vice chancellors should start thinking from a different point of view, because we're going to continue creating the very same results of highly qualified graduates, and we keep on wanting to develop them. What about the gift? So, when does this happen? It started at conception. At conception, you download what your mom and your dad already had. That is what we call genetical conditioning. Meaning you download everything, it becomes part of you, and you live your life from there. It's a belief system. And then now going out there, the environment keeps on reinforcing who you are. That is why it's not as easy, because we live our lives from the 5 senses, and we believe that, okay, this is what it is. This is what. Then there's a silent voice that says no. But now, because we flow with the flow, we take our gifts and talents and we shove them under the table. This is the time where each one of us has to start asking. There's a child that is being born today. In 2 seconds, there's a child that is being born. When we are facing a very big influx of highly qualified graduates, by 18 years when that child is supposed to go to the university, how will his life be? So it is true that we are really, really programmed, we are conditioned. So, when a child is born, it has all these conscious faculties, but they are unconscious because they are not yet fully developed. The 5 senses. Meaning the subconscious mind believing everything is true. Whatever that comes in the subconscious mind, the child starts believing. And then the child develops a self-concept. This is who I am, which is not true. That is what we call a self-image, an opinion of self. So what does that 6 to say means? All the information that the child has in herself or himself, it's like the eggs that are meant to hatch. They are in a basket called paradigms, the belief system. So you can never escape any prison if you don't know you are in one. It's just a matter of asking yourself, who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? The answer lies with you to say, what is it that I want to achieve by the time I retire? What is it? What name should I live here? Because this time is the call for that. So there is we all have goals. We all have goals. So someone will say, no, I want to renew my car. But if you have bought a car before, that is not a goal. Robert Heinlein says, we become strangely loyal. Without a clearly defined goal, we become strangely loyal, performing daily trivia until we become enslaved by it. Until time passes, until retirement comes, until death comes. Then there are people who tap into their greatness, getting to know who they are, and then they come up with So there is a C-type goal. This C-type goal is someone who comes up with a new kind of a laptop. That person focuses on this kind of a desire. It starts with a desire, an intuitive voice that says, you want this so much. But what is it that makes you not to tap into that? What is it that you believe? What were you told? Because that is when now there's going to be a friction deep within to say you cannot do that. How many of us do we give up our dreams? Because this, what if this? So it's to challenge each and every one of us here to say, if you have got a child, maybe you have already given up to say, I'm 55, I'm going to retire. Retiring what when I'm still alive. So when I actually face these challenges, I thought to myself, you know what, I need to step up and get to know myself better, rather than who I was told I should become. So this is the time where we really need to do what? To reset, restart, and refocus. But Mr. Fuller says, you cannot resist current change. The current results as they are. What you need to do, start a new model. Make the old one obsolete. That is what we call consciousness. Alignment than to believing from five senses. Because the reality is not the real reality, it's an illusion. The actual reality is who you are. So the question is, it's not who you are that you're running from, it's who you think you are not. Before someone tells you who you are, who are you? That is where the starting point is, to find exactly why I'm here. When one day you are no more here, what is it that is going to say one day, at some stage you were here? So, look at this. There is an infant, there is an adult. So now they are both the same. Because why? For any information that we listen to, we go out there because we are controlled by the subconscious mind, where results are formed, where habits are formed. So, meaning, in our work environment, we are treating symptoms. In our businesses, we treat symptoms. We're treating symptoms in human behavior at work, we're treating symptoms. Until we dive deep and go to where results or these symptoms come from and deal with that, then all of what we are facing that brings up us here, coming up with solutions, it's just a repetition. And it's still going to continue. So, it is true that we really need to start thinking, because when this part, controlled by the outside environment, not being working, the information that comes in, the power that comes in you, it will keep on coming in. Meaning, you are not thinking for yourself except to be controlled by what? By the outside environment. So that is why we really need to learn to think. Once you think, it's better. Dr. McFarlane says, you know what? In the whole world, 2% think, 3% think they think. 95% they rather die. So just think deeper. Think deeper. So what happens is, nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I believe that next year when there is a conference, we would have come up with solutions as to how are we moving forward. Because as I'm standing here as a parent and anything that this world needs, there are those that are coming behind us. It's a challenge to say, what is it that you want to see happening? What is it that you want to see improving? What is it that you want to overcome? Be it in your business, be it wherever. When you turn at night and think, you are alone. You might be sleeping comfortably in your bed with your husband and whoever, but you are alone when you are thinking. That is why we have so many people facing mental health, because the gift that is here is not aligned with what you keep on seeing. The objective is to silence all these highways of information coming in, taking hostage of the mind, and we end up not thinking anything except depression and developing disease. We co-create disease. I must say that today. So, Now, these paradigms, they take hostage of our mind completely, and everything that we do is habitual. Take them to the classroom, train them to know more, train them to know more. And it's not working. We keep on training them to know more. What about those who say, no, what? I am not for this. What about those who say, for me, this is who I am? But we have been conditioned to say, no, what? You are the same. We are not the same. Mark your voice and mark mine. We are not the same. Start from there. So, paradigms and multitude of habits passed down from generation to generation. It's a habit. So how do we break the habit? Through consciousness, understanding that for as long as the world is talking to me, I'm not for the world. Nightingale, Neville Goddard says, the world and all that is within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. So if you look at yourself in the mirror and you want to fix something, you don't fix the mirror. You come back to you. Now, it means the mind is projecting who you are on the outside. So where do you go? You go back. So whatever that is inside is who you are. Now, are you getting the results from that desire? Then you look on the outside because it will keep on doing what? Reflecting back on you. So yeah, school is always sacred, but school never teaches us this. That is why it's high time for us to get to know ourselves better, so that those that are coming behind us, they also get to know themselves better. Otherwise, it's just leading to a very serious kind of frustrations and confusion that get themselves expressed in different behavioral patterns, which we call disease. So look at that. 4% is books, which is good. But this information, for as long as it is lying in the conscious mind, the subconscious mind won't process. But now again, you say you want to take this information deep down in the conscious mind, subconscious mind. Then there's a concrete wall like Joburg highways. It's blocking your spiritual DNA. Then how do you connect? The results will always speak the truth. Check the results. Check what is it that you wanted to change and it didn't change. Working so much hard, making sure that you want things to change, but nothing changes. Nothing changes until nothing changes. So that is the end from my side. I'm really grateful to be sharing this, and I know there are a lot of people who have got so many questions, and we ignore that. So take it to your heart.